One of the bigger debates in Christian circles is whether we can know the time of Christ's return or not. This debate resurfaced when I was out and about sharing the information regarding the soon-to-appear Revelation 12 sign. While I was sharing it, I was told that it is impossible to know the time of the Lord's return, for no man can know the day or the hour referring to regarding Matthew 24:36. The funny thing is, I was talking about the appearing of a sign, not Jesus' return. By declaring the time of the fulfillment of the sign, we are not declaring a date for the rapture of the church. What we do know is that God declared in Genesis 1:14 that the sun, the moon, and the stars were put in place for the purpose of declaring signs and seasons. Seasons is better defined as appointed times on God's calendar. The Revelation 12 sign is just that. It is a sign declaring that we are entering an appointed time on God's calendar. Simply by the fact that it's linked to tribulation prophecy may indicate that we are at the appointed time of the terrible time known as the tribulation. But is it possible there's another purpose for this sign? I believe so. I believe we may have our clue in the parable of the 10 virgins, found in Matthew 25, 1 through 13. All of the 10 virgins in this parable were professing to know the groom and were waiting for his arrival. In this parable, the virgins represent professing believers in Jesus Christ. All were waiting. All were tired, and they all fell asleep. And as they were sleeping, they were all awakened by a midnight cry that went forth declaring the groom was coming. Now here's the question. If we can't have any idea as to when Jesus is to return, why would Jesus give us a parable making note that a midnight cry would go out warning the virgins of his impending arrival? Now in this parable, 5 virgins were alert with their lamps full of oil, which represents his word and potentially his word regarding the groom's imminent return, as they were ready with full lamps. But the other 5 virgins, they were out of oil, and they were not ready or prepared. Maybe they didn't really believe the groom would be coming, so they didn't prepare their lamps. Regardless, the 5 unprepared virgins were not allowed to leave with the groom, because he declared that he didn't know them. What? Weren't they professing believers, but they weren't allowed to go? Was it because they blew off the report of his soon-to-be arrival in disbelief, and they weren't prepared when the call went forth to meet the groom? But what about the midnight cry? Would God really give us a warning of his impending return? I believe that God's character is always full of grace and mercy. Actually, it would be quite cruel for a groom to leave his bride and say, "I'm coming back for you, but you'll never know when. I'll just show up when you least expect it. But be dressed. Have your bridal dress on. Have your makeup on, your teeth brushed, and be ready to go on our wedding day, the day I will show up unannounced." And then have this groom just disappear, never making a phone call, not a text, no contact, nothing. This insensitive groom would just leave the bride hanging around with no idea as to what to expect or when to expect him. You just can't depend on him. You just can't know the day or hour, which usually means, by those that express it, month or year as well. You just can't know. Then, all of a sudden, bam! Out of nowhere, no warning, no clues, just bam! He shows up for the most important day of his life, his wedding. Come on, bride, let's go. If my son-in-laws would have acted like that, I would have told my daughters, say no. Don't link up to that abusive guy. He didn't even give you a last-minute notice he was showing up so you could look your best. I would have told my daughter, run. Don't marry that jerk. He's insensitive, selfish, and definitely doesn't even care about you. Run. But our groom isn't like that. He gave us his word that he would return. He told us what it would be like just prior to his return. He told us that the world would lack love and be full of violence. He gave us the timeline of Israel to know when his return is near, and said the nations would form an alliance against her. And lastly, I believe he gave us this sign, this Revelation 12 sign. It's a clear sign. It can't be missed or misunderstood. The sign is in his word, and it contains the message of his return. It's unmistakably clear. It's the only time that it has ever appeared or ever will appear. Only this one time. It's a midnight cry, and it's going forth. Are you excitedly awaiting for his arrival with oil in your lamp?
Thank you for watching. If this video was encouraging or helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. We so appreciate you. You can contact us and request a Living Out of the Right Side packet at hisgoodkingdom.com or email us at hisgoodkingdom@yahoo.com. We look forward to hearing from you. For now, this is Herb and Diane with Kingdom Builders. See you soon.